This is Jilliana at Ranicar-Breese, and I'm in Foredown Tower in Portslade, which is part of Brighton in Sussex. And I have the pleasure of meeting Peter Fishenden, who is working with the camera Obscura, which is at the tower. Now, Peter, tell me, what is a camera Obscura?
Camera obscura comes from the Latin, camera meaning chamber, and obscura meaning dark. So it's a room that you can make dark, and then you need a small hole somewhere to let in the light, and that will then project an image on a surface.
Upside down.
It is if the hole is in the wall. We've actually turned things through 90 degrees here, and we have the hole coming through the ceiling. So we project onto a dish, which is quite a usual way of doing the camera obscura.
And what do you actually see?
Well, what you see is the outside. The original, it's thought that the Greeks knew about camera obscura, and if you have a dark room and a slight imperfection in the wall, if you've got a sort of pinprick, you will have effectively a pinhole camera. So you'll get a focused image upside down on the wall on the opposite side. It's a very dim image if it's a pinhole. So if you make the hole a little bit larger, it lets more light in, and you get a much brighter image, but unfortunately it'll then be out of focus because you haven't got the pinhole effect. So what you have to do is wait till the mid-1500s when the lens has been invented, then you have a nice big hole with a lens in it, and you can have an upside down.
And who invented the lens?
That was a Dutchman whose name escapes me. There were a pair of them.
Well, we can look it up.
The principle of the lens was known in Roman times because it means lentil. So a lens is lentil shaped if you think about it. And a piece of rock crystal of an appropriate shape would give you a magnification. But it was in the mid-1500s that the Dutch spectacle makers came about. It was two brothers, I think, or father and son. And that's where it started from. And then, of course, you've got the development of that. So the more carefully you grind the lens, the more accurate it will be for magnification.
Oh, fantastic. So that started in Holland?
Yes, and of course in 1610 we had Galileo with his first telescope, and this is using multiple lenses. The lenses are fairly easy to grind in the middle. It's the edges that get a bit rough, and that's why if you look in a cheap telescope you'll see there's like a black polo mint, and that is obscuring the edges of the lens where you get the worst aberrations, and so that will tend to send light all over the place. By just using the centre portion you get a better view. Now here we have the largest unstocked lens in the country. Wow. So you've actually come to the best camera obscura to start with.
Oh, fantastic. And it's open every day?
No.
It's housed in a water tower.
It is. It was the water tower that used to belong to the isolation hospital. So if you had some dreadful disease like tuberculosis or scarlet fever, you'd be shipped up here. It was on top of the downs.
And that was the date of the building?
This was 1909.
Right.
Well, the hospital dated back to the late 1800s.
Yeah.
The tower was built in 1909.
So Edwardian.
Yes, because they needed water for washing, obviously lots of washing, for drinking, for bathing, and there wasn't, because it's on top of a hill, there wasn't sufficient pressure, so it was pumped up into the tower, and that gave them the pressure then to be able to...
And the camera obscura came in 1990?
1990. It was started off at Gateshead for the Garden Festival. It was built specifically for that by Sinden Optics. And someone on Hove Council thought it would be a frightfully good idea to, at the end of the festival, buy it and convert the water tower into a viewing gallery and camera obscura.
And when is it open?
It's open on a Tuesday and a Thursday. It's staffed purely by volunteers. We're so proud of it. We're happy to come here and do it for nothing. And there are
only Tuesdays and Thursdays?
Yes, and the last Saturday of the month. And so it's open. There'll be a demonstration on the hour, so 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock and 1 o'clock on the Tuesdays and Thursdays, and on the Saturday sometimes there'll also be a 2 o'clock if there's sufficient people here.
Right, but not on a Friday?
No.
Oh, I thought Valerie worked on a Friday in the cafe.
Valerie works on the Friday, but this is also used as an overshoot for classrooms for PACA, Port Slade Aldridge Community Academy.
Oh, I see.
And teaching goes on there. So that the tower itself is open 5 days a week, and you can go up into the viewing gallery for free.
Yes.
But
so it's the demonstrations.
The demonstrations are already there.
I see.
And just £2.50 for the demonstrations. Very good value for money.
Yeah, absolutely. And the demonstration is 20 minutes to 30 minutes?
20 to 30 minutes, yes.
Right, and shortly I will be clambering up how do you call those stairs?
The helical staircase. It's not a spiral.
Sounds very grand.
Yes, I'm a bit of a pedant, and a spiral is something like a snail shell where you've got a changing diameter as it gets larger.
Yes.
Our staircase goes up, as most of them do, it's the same diameter all the way up, so it's strictly speaking a helical staircase.
And you got this job because you were a member of the Astronomy Society.
Back in 2000, my wife and I were members of the astronomy group, and the manager of the tower, because the astronomy group was run from here, said, we're looking for another person to help demonstrate the camera obscura on a Saturday. And because of my love of all things scientific and optics, I decided to apply for it, and I was lucky enough to be given the job. Did it for about 5 years. Just on a Saturday, and then had a break for a few years, and then when I retired from the fire service in 2014, they were again looking for volunteers this time, rather than paid employment, but as I said, we're all very proud of this and we want to keep it open, and so I've been volunteering since then and loving every minute of it.
Oh, that's lovely. Well, thank you very, very much, and I look forward to your demonstration. Thank you.
Thank you, Jilliana.